Dartmouth College has decided to yet again become a test required institution for first year applicants, meaning that high school students applying for first year entry for the fall of 2025 must submit an SAT or an ACT score in order to be considered for admission. My name is Craig Meister. I'm a college admissions coach. You can learn more about me and how you can work with me one-on-one throughout the entire college admissions process at collegemeister.com. So in 2020, a number of colleges, actually the majority of American colleges, decided to suspend the requirements that students submit an SAT or an ACT score in order to be considered for first year admission. This was done ostensibly because the COVID pandemic shutdowns, but of course it was done for other political and social reasons as well, and as a testing ground to determine if colleges could boost their application numbers and increase diversity all at once. And now the data is increasingly in. And at least one highly selective school, Dartmouth, has decided enough is enough. They're returning to requiring first-year applicants to submit the SAT or ACT score of their choice in order to even be considered for first-year admission. Reasoning goes that Dartmouth already was giving greater leeway to applicants from underprivileged academic settings in terms of their scores. And a number of students withheld their test scores when applying to Dartmouth, who actually, in Dartmouth's view, should have submitted their test scores. And as a result, the college, Dartmouth College, had less certainty that the students would succeed without that test score. And the test score that they would have submitted would have been in the 1400s in some cases, and that would have been enough for Dartmouth for those students who had other challenges outside of testing. Because Dartmouth reviews applicants holistically, Dartmouth is basically saying that they want to see the full picture of all applicants so that they can assess all students fully holistically, so that they can make the appropriate decision for the student and ultimately the institution. And by not having that testing data, Dartmouth was sometimes feeling as though students who should have otherwise or could have otherwise succeeded at Dartmouth were not able to put their best foot forward. Whatever the excuse, MIT made this decision a couple years back after intermittently going test optional right after the pandemic. They quickly reversed course because they looked at the data and they saw that actually, as I have been saying for a number of years, the least gameable part of the college application is one's test scores. And therefore, the most indicative part of how someone may succeed in a rigorous academic environment would be one's test scores, because if one's essay has been written by someone else, if one's resume has been perfectly airbrushed by multiple cooks in the kitchen, let's just put it that way, if all teacher recommendations are fawningly in love with the student they're recommending, and increasingly high schools give out A's like they are candy during Halloween, it goes to figure that the standardized test scores, either the SAT or the ACT, would be the most difficult thing for an extremely wealthy person to be able to game or somehow change from what the student is really capable of earning. Because when that student goes into a testing center and has to sit for a standardized test for hours on end, it's the student and the test. The student either is able to perform on the test, therefore demonstrating outputting knowledge he or she has absorbed over his or her high school career, or he or she is not able to do it. Every other part of the college application process is far more susceptible to nefarious inputs, let's just put it that way, and therefore much more benefiting of those who have the resources and the lack of morality, and therefore necessary in order to basically game the system, that it makes sense. And I'm so very happy. I'll be honest, I don't give my opinion often, but I have given my opinion on this matter in the past, and I will give my opinion on this matter yet again, which is the test optional movement has actually reinforced hierarchy, has reinforced privilege, unearned privilege, has reinforced a certain type of student benefiting from the very Byzantine college application process in the United States, and has actually hurt diamond in the rough, strong students from diverse backgrounds all across the world who are able to demonstrate that they have the academic wherewithal to succeed. And so I give a hearty congratulations to Dartmouth College today on their decision to reinstate the SAT or ACT requirement for all first-year applicants. What happens next? Well, this definitely gives momentum to the anti-test optional movement, the movement that actually supports students being assessed based off of their academic merit, in addition to, of course, other things that are being considered by these colleges. But SAT is and was and will continue to be the only, or in the ACT as well, the only standardized measures that colleges have or had at their disposal in order to compare all applicants around the world and therefore determine if all students are suitably united academically in their ability to succeed at an institution based off of academic fit. So I would argue that this is hopefully the beginning of a trend. It's not going to be a massive trend because too many colleges have benefited too much financially from the huge number of additional applicants they are receiving. Plus, the political inclinations of too many colleges is such where they simply do not believe any longer in standardized testing. They believe it to be an archaic tool used to perpetuate discrimination. Too many schools believe that, and therefore it's not going to be a massive trend back to SAT or ACT required at institutions, but there will be more schools that will follow Dartmouth. Dartmouth and MIT are both very strong institutions that have strong reputations, and the fact that in the past couple of years they now have both made the determination to go back to test required. I should, of course, mention other schools were test optional briefly and then reverted back to being test required. Most notably, Georgetown at the selective college level was sort of test okay. You cannot have to submit it during the pandemic, but they sort of always encouraged it. Georgetown, yet again, strongly encourages the SAT or the ACT for first-year applicants. Purdue went back to requiring the SAT and ACT or ACT. The UFs of the world, Florida States of the world, those state schools in Florida never got rid of it because of the way in which the SAT or ACT score plays such a critical role in determining in-state students' bright future scholarship or scholars package, so they could never get rid of it in the state of Florida. Of course, those schools are far less selective than the Georgetowns, the MITs, and the Dartmouths of the world. And then Georgia and Tennessee also now require, yet again, the SAT or ACT for first-year admissions for state colleges that are selective. So there will be more selective, highly selective colleges that will join the bandwagon now of Dartmouth and go back to the way they were pre-pandemic, where they required the SAT and ACT score. I do believe that we will see at least one or two more Ivy League schools join. Now, this comes on the heels of Columbia several months ago saying they will remain permanently test optional for first-year applicants, Columbia and the city of New York. And that makes sense because, again, the ideology of those in charge at Columbia very much is of the belief that SAT and ACTs are discriminatory and therefore they do not want to be associated with requiring them. And that's the public face they want to put on why they will remain test optional. A lot of other reasons go behind that, but it's not surprising that Columbia would go in one direction while another Ivy League school today, Dartmouth College, for first-year applicants has decided to go into another direction. It is my hope and I believe most likely outcome that at least one or two more Ivy League schools will go back to being test required. And the most likely ones to do so, I believe, would be Yale and or Penn. However, Brown could also be an option, but none of that is confirmed. That is just Craig Meister speculating right now as to what could happen in the coming days and weeks as undergraduate institutions are now making decisions about how to proceed with those students who are going to be applying for fall 2025 admission, because that application process starts very soon. The Common Application will release its Common App essay prompts very shortly for the 2024-2025 admission cycle, and the Common App itself goes live in the summer of 2024 for students who start applying for admission for fall 2025. And so decisions now have to be made in the month of February and March, by these institutions as to whether or not they will be requiring the SAT or the ACT for first-year applicants. If you are interested in learning more about how you can work with me, Craig Meister, I'm a college admissions coach, you can go to my website, collegemeister.com. And if you like this video, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I like to pump out videos as often as I possibly can while juggling other responsibilities. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and most importantly, stay stress-free during the entire undergraduate admissions process.